Brother Gongshu! The thin man yelled. At this point, his complexion had paled significantly, and his arms were trembling as he pressed the palms of his hands down onto the mirror surface, clearly indicating that he was severely exerting himself. Gongshu Tian began to chant a rapid incantation, then made a grabbing motion with both hands before dragging them downward, and a layer of white flames emerged over the white sun that was hovering in mid-air, which came crashing down upon the silver figure. An earth-shattering boom rang out as the white sun exploded to inundate the silver figure with radiant white light, which also filled the entire spirit domain. A burst of unfathomably formidable law power fluctuations erupted out of the explosion before spreading through the surrounding area, and countless rifts instantly began to appear in the nearby space. The azure mirror surface instantly vanished and reverted back to an azure spirit domain. But in the face of this burst of formidable law power fluctuation, the azure spirit domain quickly disintegrated as well. After destroying the azure spirit domain, the burst of law power fluctuations struck the crimson spirit domain, and Gongshuju let loose a fierce roar as he held the crimson spirit domain together with all his might. If he couldn't contain the power of this explosion, then at least half of the entirety of Jade Gathering City was going to be razed to the ground. A few seconds later, the law power fluctuations finally subsided, and the radiant white light that filled the entire spirit domain also faded. At this moment, Gongshuju's complexion was looking deathly pale, but there was an elated look in his eyes as he withdrew his crimson spirit domain before casting his gaze toward the silver figure. That white sun was something that had been conjured up by the combination of his and his companion's law powers. Even though their law powers weren't perfectly compatible with each other's, that attack was still comparable in power to an all-out blow from a late high zenith cultivator. Silver Fox was only at the early high zenith stage, so there was no way that he would have been able to survive a direct strike from the white sun. Having said that, Gongshuju was hoping that Silver Fox's body wasn't too severely damaged. Otherwise, there would be insufficient proof that he had actually completed his mission. As the spirit domains and the dense wall of fire faded, a stir immediately began to run through the crowd of bystanders. At this point, even more people had gathered around the scene, and they were all staring intently at the epicenter of the explosion. Before long, the white light had completely faded, and a charred black body was revealed on the ground. However, as soon as Gongshu Tian caught sight of the body, his smile instantly stiffened. As it turned out, the body belonged to his companion. At this moment, his entire body was charred black and riddled with cracks, but there was no longer any blood flowing out of those gashes. He resembled a burned rucksack, and the only silver lining was that he was still breathing, albeit very faintly. "Senior Marshal Brother Wang!" Gongshu Tian exclaimed, then immediately rushed over to the thin man's side before flinging a hand over to summon a pair of talismans, one green and one red. Both talismans were giving off astonishing spiritual power and law power fluctuations, indicating that they had to be very precious talismans. But in this urgent situation, Gongshu Tian put them to use without any hesitation. The two talismans lit up at his behest, then vanished into the thin man's body as two balls of light, one green and one red. The thin man's charred body instantly began to revert from black to red, and all of the gashes on his body also began to heal, while his aura was also steadily recovering. Gongshu Tian was very relieved to see this, but all of a sudden, he turned his attention to the spot where the thin man had been standing just a moment ago, and it was Silver Fox who was standing there instead. His hands were clasped together in a seal in front of his chest, and they were releasing blinding silver light. All of a sudden, Silver Fox undid his hand seal, and the silver light immediately faded, revealing a faint smile on his face. Meanwhile, the purple-robed cultivator remained at the exact same spot as before, with his hands still clasped behind his back. His clothes were completely spotless and undamaged, and he hadn't been affected by the battle that had just taken place around him at all. He turned to take a glance at Silver Fox and the two immortal envoys, then quickly looked away again. All of the bystanders were astonished to see this. It seemed like Silver Fox had taken on two immortal envoys at once and come out on top. I can't believe you've mastered the laws of illusion to such an advanced degree, Gong Shutian exclaimed with a stunned and furious expression. He then scooped up the thin man's body from the ground before flying back in retreat. Did I say you could leave? Silver Fox asked as he raised a hand, and his fingertip began to glow with bright silver light. Right at this moment, a burst of spatial fluctuations erupted overhead, and a bolt of 5-colored lightning appeared before crashing down upon Silver Fox at an astonishing speed. Silver Fox immediately darted back in retreat with an alarmed expression, but the bolt of 5-colored lightning was too fast for him to evade, and it wrapped itself around his raised left arm as if it were a living creature. A dull thump rang out as Silver Fox's arm was snapped into pieces before being incinerated into ashes, but at the same time, he had retreated to over 1,000 feet away. However, the bolt of 5-colored lightning wasn't done there, and it shot forth in hot pursuit before attempting to strike other parts of Silver Fox's body. A cold look appeared on Silver Fox's face as he swept his right arm through the air, and a translucent chain shot out of his glabella, instantly diverting the bolt of lightning to the side so that it glanced past him before burrowing into the ground. A bottomless hole was instantly punched into the ground with plumes of smoke billowing out of it. Han Li's eyes immediately lit up with intrigue upon seeing this. This was the second time that Silver Fox had unleashed this spirit sense secret technique. Immediately thereafter, Silver Fox darted back another 1,000 or so feet, then opened his mouth to release a burst of crimson light that fell upon his left shoulder, where his arm had been severed. A series of crimson threads instantly shot out of his shoulder, then rapidly intertwined to form a new arm, following which he looked up into the sky, where a figure emerged amid a flash of 5-colored lightning. It was an enormous middle-aged man who was almost twice the height of the average grown man. His skin was bronze in color, and his facial features were so sharp and angular that they looked as if they had been chiseled out of stone. He was wearing a suit of golden armor, indicating that he was also an immortal envoy. Su Liu. Silver Fox spat through gritted teeth. That's Immortal Envoy Su Liu! Taoist Master Jingyang exclaimed with a surprised expression. Immortal Envoy Su Liu? Is he the Immortal Envoy stationed in Jade Gathering City? Han Li asked. That's right. Immortal Envoy Su Liu is at the pinnacle of the High Zenith stage. I don't think Silver Fox will be able to get away this time. Taoist Master Jingyang sighed. Silver Fox is a wanted fugitive of the Heavenly Court, while you're a deputy mountain master of the 100 Creations Mountain, which is affiliated with the Heavenly Court. So why is it that you seem rather concerned that Silver Fox is going to be captured? Han Li asked. Taoist Master Jingyang shuddered slightly upon hearing this, and he hurriedly looked around, but, much to his relief, everyone's attention was currently focused on Su Liu, so no one had overheard their conversation. Please don't make such damning jokes, fellow Taoist Li. If someone from the Heavenly Court overhears you, I'll be in a world of trouble. Taoist Master Jingyang implored through voice transmission. Rest assured, fellow Taoist Jingyang, I've already cast a soundproofing restriction around us, so no one would have been able to overhear our conversation. I'm not so careless that I would discuss such sensitive matters without taking the necessary precautions, Han Li replied with an amused smile. Taoist Master Jingyang faltered slightly upon hearing this, then looked around to discover that there was indeed a barely visible restriction around them, a discovery that left him feeling both relieved and astonished. The two of them had been standing so close to each other, yet Han Li had cast this restriction completely without his detection, indicating that Han Li was most likely even more powerful than he anticipated. Meanwhile, a wary look appeared in Silver Fox's eyes as he conjured up dozens of identical silver figures once again, all of whom fled in different directions. Why are you in such a hurry to get away? Su Liu sneered as he reached out with both hands, and dozens of arcs of 5-colored lightning instantly shot out of his fingertips before hurtling toward those silver figures. The silver figures were extremely fast, but those arcs of lightning were even faster, and they caught up to the silver figures in a flash before wrapping themselves around them. Immediately thereafter, The arcs of lightning exploded violently to eradicate all of the silver figures in the blink of an eye, leaving only one behind. That final silver figure was Silver Fox's true body, and he was in the process of fleeing the scene. A cold sneer appeared on Suliu's face as he brought his fingers together, and the arcs of five-colored lightning instantly converged to form four five-colored lightning dragons, each of which was over 100 feet in length. The four lightning dragons swooped down before appearing directly above Silver Fox in the blink of an eye, then pounced on him at an astonishing speed. A burst of tremendous power erupted out of the lightning dragon's bodies to significantly hamper Silver Fox's speed, and his expression changed drastically as he hurriedly made a string of hand seals. Several spiritual sense chains shot out of his glabella in a flash, and four lightning dragons were diverted ever so slightly to create a small opening. Silver Fox's eyes immediately lit up as he darted through the opening, but right at this moment, an earth-shattering boom rang out, and an enormous ball of radiant five-colored lightning emerged. Thick arcs of five-colored lightning flashed through the air, instantly eradicating everything that they came into contact with, and the ball of lightning was like an all-devouring giant beast. However, in the instant that the ball of five-colored lightning appeared, Silver Fox shot out from within, looking rather disheveled. His complexion had paled even further. His clothes were in tatters, and a series of charred gashes had appeared over his body, but they weren't severe injuries. All of a sudden, he turned around and yelled, "I did tell you not to get involved, but you can't just stand there and do nothing but watch."